Welcome to Fulfillionaire's File, the show where we explore the intersection of wealth, purpose, fulfillment, and the voices behind meaningful legacies. I'm your host, Victoria Ferrer, personal power and public presence coach, and I work with professionals, entrepreneurs, women leaders, and change makers around the world who are ready to stop shrinking, step fully into their authority, and communicate with clarity, courage, and conviction. Here on the show, we spotlight people who help others rise, not just financially, but emotionally, creatively, and spiritually. And today's guest is someone who does exactly that through the written word. Joining me is Allissa Blondin, founder of The Feathered Pen, a heart-centered writing and editing studio that guides thought leaders and authors in shaping their stories into powerful, lasting legacies. And with over 25 years of experience as a professional writer, Allissa has helped clients transform ideas, memories, and missions into books, articles, and personal narratives that truly matter. Her work is collaborative, nurturing, and deeply rooted in helping people honor their voice. And that's why I invited her over. Allissa, welcome to Fulfillionaire's File. I'm so honored to have you here.
Oh, thank you, Vicky. I'm honored to be here as well.
Thank you. So let's go to, I'm sure the viewers are, waiting to hear from you and your stories. Alisa, take us back to the moment you realized writing was more than a skill for you. It was a calling. What personal experience shaped the heart-centered approach behind the feathered pen?
Well, several years ago, about 10 years ago, I was standing on stage. I was supposed to walk the stage like a fitness model. And I had like gone backstage with the model and she had shown me how to walk and like flip my hair and do all of those things to feel confident on stage. It's the regular kind of confidence exercise that you've seen at many of these big conferences. And after doing it, I I flipped my hair and then I like leaned into my hip and like did one of these, right? And everyone was clapping and the host stopped like after the clapping was done, the host asked, "So how do you feel?" And I was going to give the safe answer, "Oh, I feel great. I feel so confident. Thank you so much." But what came out of me was uh tears and like that ugly cry that
Oh,
we've all witnessed. And I said, I don't feel confident. I feel like I'm lying to everyone up here. I feel like I am not beautiful. I am not confident. I am not like so many things are going through me right now. And I feel like a fraud. And after I had finished my tirade, she said to me, being vulnerable is one of the most beautiful things a person can be. And those words, like they gave me tingles. And I know that when those words give you tingles, they are truth. And so she said, take the stage again, and I want you to walk this time with confidence. And there was a lightness in my step that I had never felt before, and this energy surging from like the audience being engaged. And when I finally came back and I gave this like jaw-dropping look at the end, the audience started clapping again. And I'm like, thank you so much, right? And I started to walk off stage, and the host says, stop. And we all stopped, right? Everybody stopped clapping. I
mm-mm.
stopped in my place. She goes, this applause is for you. Stand there and accept it. And one by one, the audience started rising and they gave me a standing ovation. And it was the first time in my life I felt worthy being myself, being
Mm-mm.
vulnerable, sharing a deep truth with people instead of wearing a mask and trying to cover it
Right.
up.
Oh my
Yeah, so
God.
that's where the heart-centered comes from.
Yeah, that's so powerful, Alisa. And what do you think your younger self didn't yet realize about the impact you would one day have?
What did my one? Hmm. I think my younger self didn't understand that I had unique gifts to offer the world that only I could based on the lens of my own experience. And so uh, when I stepped into that fully, I started exploring different ways to find that piece of myself, find that purpose. And I was invited to do a class, and we created a Venn diagram. And in that Venn diagram, writing was in all of the columns, right? And
Mhm.
so I was invited in another course to take something that I love to do and make money from it to prove to myself that I could, right? Just it was a budgeting course. We were trying to be better with our finances. And I thought writing just popped in my head. So I took my phone up like this and I said, I don't know if you know this about me, but I love everything in the written word. So if you need anything written, I'm your gal. And people started contacting me. And then when I finished my first project, I got such great accolades that people just started flowing in. People needed ghostwriting and editing. And that's how my business uh, was formed. And when I did my values search with my business coach, we realized that heart centered was the first heart centered service, then expansion, then authentic connection, and then legacy. And what I didn't realize at the time was that it spelled heal, right? And so heart centered service it's a safe, loving space for authors to explore and express those profoundly personal stories that can change a life.
I love that, heart-centered. Sometimes we forget about emotions and feelings because we're so engrossed with materialism,
Mhm.
and yet we forget, hey, get back to the core of your heart, and realize that this is all about feelings, this is about emotion. And thank you for that, Alisa. So many thought leaders struggle to put their deepest truths into words. What do you see as the biggest internal barrier that keeps people from fully expressing their story? And how do you gently help them move past it?
That's a good question. It doesn't matter how many things you've accomplished, what role you're in life when we are faced with writing a book and putting our story out there in public, uh, self-doubt kicks in. Even for someone who knows exactly what they're going to write, uh, messages like, who am I to write a book? Or what am
Mhm.
I going to say that's going to be different from anyone else out there, right? This has already been written about. And how I help them through that is I let them know that no one has had your experience. No one has been through what you've been through and has shaped that perception based on the lens of your own experience and your lived life, like your experiences. And so when we put that twist on it and we add the personal in there rather than just the process, those personal stories, even though it might not be exactly the same as someone else is able to garner wisdom because they connect with that story. And so, imposter syndrome is one of the biggest things that comes up. And all we need to do to move past it is start writing that first draft. I always tell my clients the first draft is for you. Nobody else needs to read it, but that's where the healing comes from. That's where the self-doubt starts to fade. That's where the, wow, this is really important and somebody needs to hear this starts to come out on the page.
In fact, that was my follow-up question. What's one belief you often help writers release before the real writing can begin? And you did answer my follow-up question. Beautiful. And so, with over 25 years of experience guiding others through storytelling, how has that work shaped your own growth, perspective, or understanding of legacy?
It's a great question. I think when someone is writing their own story, and as an
Mhm.
editor, I read that story and they're having all of these aha breakthroughs, and I get to read those as well. And through my own lens of my experience, I read it and it affects me. As I've been working with these writers, helping them live their truth, get their gifts and greatness out into the world, and share their heart and their vulnerable moments with the world to show one another that we're not alone, that everyone has these types of moments, it also impacts me. I've started to realize that my gifts and my greatness is connecting with the heart of another person to really pull out, okay, what was the values that were trampled on in that situation and why did that, right? And then it brings in a story of, well, when I was a child this happened or whatever, and those stories all culminate in why we believe what we believe, and when the writer heals from it, so do I now understand that I have a way of connecting to creativity and helping others connect to creativity and to one another in a very profound and meaningful way.
Ooh. And then when someone completes a piece of writing with you, a book, an article, or a deeply personal story, what transformation do you hope they experience beyond the final manuscript?
Mhm. I hope they discover how to integrate their true purpose into everything that they do. I hope they understand that in sharing their story, they not only heal themselves, but they heal others. And when you can change one life, you made a ripple in the world that you will never see the consequence of, right? That person on stage has no idea how her words affected me, right?
Yeah,
So,
definitely. Yeah. So, Alisa, just a follow-up question. What changes do you often see in how your clients speak about themselves after writing a book?
um, there's a lot more love in everything that they do. I think that the reason that I do heart-centered work is because it opens closed hearts and wounded hearts and hearts that need healing to love. And when they finish their book, when they work with me, they are able to infuse that love for themselves, especially, right? There's a lot more self-forgiveness, a lot more grace, and a lot more grace and forgiveness for others. So the ability to communicate even with their teams improves because they're able to see the humanity and the shared experience through writing their own story.
So, for someone listening right now who feels a story stirring inside them but keeps postponing it, what gentle first step would you invite them to take toward honoring their voice and creating a written legacy?
I believe we're all given a story for a reason. If there's a story percolating, it's given to you for a reason. You're meant to share it because it can change a life, not only another life, but your own. And so a gentle nudge or prompting is get your story out somehow. Go to a writing retreat and just, you don't have to share what you're writing. You just kind of follow their prompts and get your ideas out onto a page. Or when you're taking your morning sip of coffee or tea or whatever your morning beverage of choice is, write one sentence of the gift that you want to give to the world or the unique story that you have to offer. One sentence at a time becomes an entire book after time, right? And it's all in
Mhm.
a journal and ready for you when you're ready to take that next step. And just know that there's a reason, there's a message on your heart. And if you don't give it to the world, we'll never hear it.
So true. That's so true. I agree with that. And whoever is watching us now, our viewers, if they walk away today remembering just one thing about storytelling, voice, and legacy, what would you hope that is?
That connection happens through the heart, through sharing our stories with love and compassion for ourselves as well as for one another. And when we do that, we can change the world.
Yeah, and I love that because even in my coaching, people always think that they just have to share their success stories. And
Yeah.
right? And I tell them, no, the failures in your life and how you thrive, that's what people want to listen to because everything is not a bed of roses. Life is not all, oh, I'm successful. No, life is full of failures. And I want to hear the failures and how you manage to survive and thrive. So I think that's a beautiful way of you helping the clients, encouraging them. A story is your own story. It's unique and share it with the world so that the world will learn from you. So I'm sure now our viewers are really curious. Where can people find you and connect with the feathered pen?
Ah, my website is www.thefeatheredpen.com. Um, they can book a discovery call if they're curious about what the next steps for themselves might be. I am on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram. Um, I do writing courses as well on retreats, and I
Hmm.
also do corporate events. I was recently at a maximum security women's prison, and
Hmm.
when we finished the session with the administrative staff, the warden said to me, Allissa, I have worked in this prison for many years, and this is the first time I've ever felt peace within these walls. Yeah, and
That's
it was
so,
because we shared our stories, right? And that created that
yeah.
trust and that peace.
That's really beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you for the beautiful work you do in the world and for reminding us that our stories matter far more than we realize. And to everyone watching, if you've been carrying a story inside you, let today be the nudge. Because fulfillment is not only about what we build financially, it's about what we leave behind. Any parting words, Alyssa, to our viewers?
Just take the first step to whatever you're doing. Take the next step. Trust yourself.
Yes, exactly. And go contact Alisa because I'm sure you will have a lot of stories to tell and she will guide you on how to refine them. Maybe some of our viewers, Alisa, might even have funny stories. We also want stories that are funny. Maybe it can be tragic in the beginning and then it ended up humorous. People want to listen to your stories. We're like the neighbors who are eavesdropping, and we want to know what's going on with Alisa, what's going on with Vicky. There must be something, and that's why she wrote the book. And Alisa would be helping you in and guiding you in writing that book. I'm Victoria Ferrer, personal power and public presence coach, and this has been a Fulfillionaires File. Until next time, stay bold, stay anchored, and keep building a life and legacy worth telling. Thank you, everyone, and hope to see you again. And thank you again, Alisa, for coming for my interview. Let's build the feathered pen together, and I'm sure our viewers will be contacting you very soon.
Thank
Goodbye,
you.
everyone.